became physical.
Look at his wife.
The video obtained and published by TMZ shows White grabbing his
Whoa.
wife's wrist as she...
So you see, she slaps him first. Very clear. She slaps him first.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So fellas, I have a good one today. I need you guys to pay attention and understand how the media makes men look. Take a look at this.
New Year's Eve 2023 in Mexico, UFC President Dana White and his wife Anne brought it all in, but the celebration became physical. The video obtained and published by TMZ shows White grabbing...
Whoop. Did you guys see that? Let's rewind that. Take a look.
President Dana White and his wife Anne brought it all in, but the celebration became physical.
Look at his wife.
The video obtained and published by TMZ shows White grabbing his
Whoa.
wife's wrist as she...
So you see, she slaps him first. Very clear. She slaps him first. Now, what the media will not do is say that this woman has assaulted her husband first and he defended himself. The media would not say that. I bet you they're gonna say this man is an abuser, this man is part of the problem in domestic violence. But you know what? They never would say that his wife was wrong for putting her hands on him. Let's listen to what they have to say here.
Tries to walk away and Anne slapping him. Then White open hand slaps his significant other not just once, but twice. It all went down in Cabo San Lucas in the VIP area of El Squid Row. Onlookers separated the pair. Now, in the midst of White committing an act of domestic violence, he made him...
You see, you heard that? In the midst of him committing an act of domestic violence. Why is he committing the act of domestic violence? Why isn't it that he defended himself and she committed domestic violence? This is the nonsense they push. And fellas, I'm telling you, women fought for equality. They need to be penalized equally. But, you know, these simps, they will never say that. They will never ever say that these women should be penalized equally to what they do as men. Let's hear what this guy has to say.
Of something to this very day remains the oldest trick in the book. White, 53, would indicate there was definitely a lot of alcohol involved, but that's no excuse. Here's a quick question. Why state it then? The question now turns to the old adage. If they do it in public, what happens in private? White would say, it's never happened before. It's the first time it's ever happened. People are going to say what they're going to say. It is what it is.
Well, the reality is, it doesn't look like it's the first time. Because a woman would never slap her husband in public like that, knowing that he's famous. She won't do that. That looked like she was comfortable hitting him. So maybe he got sick of it and he hit her back. But she definitely hit him in a way that looked like she is very comfortable hitting him. Let's get into it.
And whatever people do say, it's deserved. I deserve it. On TMZ, which has been a safe haven for White, he told the...
And what's crazy is, like, as a man, we always, we always take one for the team. And even though his wife assaulted him and he defended himself, he's still here being a man, saying, I shouldn't have done it, and I take responsibility of it. But he will never get credit for that.
I'm in Cabo, Mexico for the holidays with my family, and my wife and I were out with family on New Year's Eve, and unfortunately that's what happened. White now joins Chuck Liddell, Luis Pena, John Jones, Mike Perry, War Machine, light heavyweight Thiago Silva, NFL player turned MMA fighter Greg Hardy, and many more on the list of domestic abusers in the sport. In 2015...
Wow, you see? So now he's labeled a domestic abuser. Look at that. Fellas, this is why it really isn't worth it. Now his reputation is tarnished and he's labeled a domestic abuser for defending himself.
HBO's Real Sports went over a huge problem. And I know there are many, but a huge problem in Dana White's organization. Public records research done by the show found that per 100,000 U.S. men, there was a domestic violence arrest rate of 360. In that same sample, HBO Real Sports found 750 MMA fighters and 210 NFL players. There was no comparison listed between UFC fighters and NFL players, however. That was occurring.
The reality is this, right? The reality is women thinks that because these guys are MMA fighters, NFL players, and they're big tough guys, that they get a free pass in putting their hands on these men. No one gets a free pass for assault. No one. Woman or man. No one gets a free pass. And the problem is, these women, on most occasions, are starting the physical assault, and when the man retaliates, he gets in trouble. Why? Because he is a man. And that is the problem.
Published in 2015. They say to always set an example, right? No matter the industry. Lead by example. Clearly, over the years, White has set his. Michael David Smith unearthed the following. The UFC has so many toxic fans that within minutes of the Dana White domestic violence video coming out, the MMA section on Reddit had to disallow comments about it because scores of UFC fans were posting about how actually it's okay for men to hit women. Smith took a screenshot of the Reddit page with one mod announcing the thread is now locked, discussing whether it's a...
Listen, it's never okay for anyone to hit anyone. Ever. So whoever is saying it's okay for men to hit women, you're wrong. This is unacceptable. However, it is always okay to retaliate and defend yourself. It doesn't matter if it's a woman who is trying to attack you or a man who is trying to attack you. You should never just sit there and be attacked. Defend yourself.
Okay for men to hit women is not what this subreddit is about. Look no further, by the way, than Schmaindrew Schmade. After his Twitter spat that allegedly got him arrested, the UFC's Jake Shields, seen here, said Schmade and climate activist Greta Thunberg should blink already, adding, just give her a proper smashing and she will knock it off with her crazy feminist/climate nonsense. Misspelled nonsense, of course. In Silva's case, he was arrested on charges he put a gun in his wife's mouth, threatened to kill her, and forced the SWAT team to take him down. White falsely claimed the fighter had been acquitted. After charges were dropped due to Silva's wife mysteriously disappearing, another fighter on White's roster pleaded guilty 2 times to committing domestic violence.
So you see, from one extreme to the other. We're not saying that there aren't men out here who aren't crazy, who aren't doing these things. But you don't compare something like that to something like this. Come on. This is the exact agenda they do. They push to tarnish men. And I want you guys to understand something. When you look at the people who are trying to tarnish men, look at them. Look at them. Look at their state, their physical state, their mental state. Just look at those people who are trying to tarnish men. Look at them. And that alone in itself will tell you. Let's get into it.
Against the mother of his children, yet White still scheduled him to appear in a fight until suffering a broken arm. Smith also noted how TMZ, which is a pro-UFC, pro-Dana White medium, in his words, soft-pedaled the story with the euphemism White and his wife got physical with each other, but make no mistake, this is domestic violence, he says. Stephen Douglas of The Big Lead would ponder, so will ESPN have Dana White front and center promoting UFC events this month? I'm one of the guys you heard me say for years, there's never ever an excuse for a guy to put his hands on a woman. And now here I am on TMZ talking about it, White said. My wife and I have been married for almost 30 years. We've known each other since we were almost 12 years old. We've obviously been through some stuff together, and we've got 3 kids. And this is one of those.
So fellas, understand something. These two people have history. They weren't out there fighting. They weren't out there swinging. They had a problem. She hit him, hit her back, and that was it. Now they need to leave this man alone and let him continue about his business and leave him and his wife. It's over and done. She's not pressing charges, he's not pressing charges. Their kids are, they have 3 kids and they're moving forward with life. Leave them alone. Simple.